Hi, and welcome again to the I Am Mom Summit. We were here last year, and we hope that you have had a great time so far during this conference.
We're Richard and Linda Eyre, and we just love the I Am Mom Summit. We love Jamie. Jamie is a dynamo. What word would you use?
Fans. We are fans of Jamie. She is tireless, and she has worked so hard on this. We're so glad that she was able to pull it off and that you are there.
And so we're going to launch into something that we think makes a big difference.
We are.
In fact, let us tell you a story.
This story goes back a ways, right?
Yeah.
We, many years ago, wrote a book called Teaching Your Children Values. And we happened to go with Oprah on it. It had 12 chapters, something a value to teach every month, 12 months. And it did very well. It was great. It went to number 1 on the New York Times bestseller list. But then we got a contract to write more books. And we thought, what is needed here? And
I should interject that we had a lot of good feedback on this national bestseller. We did get comments from parents saying, it's too complicated. 12 values. How do we implement it? How do we do it? So now we're thinking, what's our next book going to be? And we wanted it to be something really, really simple. What is the bare bones? How do you get parenting down to the 3? We wanted 3, right? The 3 most essential things.
And we finally came up with just 3 things that I think if families do, it's going to work. In fact, it's been our most popular topic when we've been speaking because it's just 3 things they can take home and think about. And so we have had a lot of fun teaching this to parents and actually doing it with our kids.
And Stephen Covey, who actually wrote the foreword in the book we're going to be talking to you about, and several of our other books, he had a bestseller that many of you remember, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And we thought, we don't want 12, which we had in our last book, and we don't even want 7, we want 3. Only 3.
And so today, we're just going to give you a short little synopsis of the 3 things that we think are the most important things in raising children.
This is what we're talking about. 3 steps to a strong family. 3 steps, only 3. And we based it on kind of some simple research that anyone could do. We just we said, hey, first of all, what parents want is for their families to last. Right? They want families to last. What do institutions have? Any institution, a school, a country, a fraternity, what does any institution have to have if it's going to last?
And we decided these are the 3 things. Family laws or family rules or just the boundaries. The kids need boundaries and we need to know how to set boundaries. The second one is a family economy. Doesn't every country, sorority, book club run on economy? In other words, a way of sharing responsibility. Some organized system that shares the responsibility. Any institution needs it, certainly a family. Maybe not a book club, but you know what I mean. Okay, so anyway, it is something that really makes an organization run. You'll have to admit it. The third one is fun, and it is family traditions. We think family traditions are the glue that holds your family together forever. They are so important, and we've talked a little bit about that last year, I'm sure we could, because we talk about it a lot, but we're going to just give you in a little nutshell these 3 things and quickly how to do it.
And let us tell you how smart we think Jamie is, right? Because Jamie said, look, we want you guys to do about a 20-minute presentation for I Am Moms, but she said, we're going to do something in the fall, and I think it's going to show up on your screen during our little presentation so that you can sign up for it right now. Jamie is going to do something on the 3 steps to a strong family because there's a lot to each one. They're simple, and yet at the same time, we all need ideas and ways to implement them. How do we actually get some family laws that work? How do we actually have an economy that the kids really like and that they get involved in, and what kind of family traditions.
So let's start out with laws because it's not as fun, but it is.
We're starting
really
with the least fun,
important,
right? Family rules.
And how, the question is, how do you set up family rules, and how do you get your kids to follow them?
Yeah.
And I think our plan was to come up with what do you think should be the family laws or the family rules?
We wanted to do it democratically.
We did, and we just kept adding and adding and adding to our family meetings. Every time somebody had an argument, there was another family law. And finally, about 5 years later,
we had a list. We were writing the family laws, and the kids thought they could add any law they wanted, right?
Right, yeah. Yeah, Saren cannot hit me or whatever. But anyway, we got a little more, there were specific ones then, but now we got a little bit more general, and I think it worked better. So we decided, with their help, and this is so important.
But you better tell it, or
our
one daughter thought once we had more than the 10 Commandments, she got a little worried.
Oh yeah, I was on that story and I forgot. Honestly, there were 3 and 2, our little girls, when we first started. And then 5 years later, Saren, our oldest, came and said, Mom, we have 33 family laws. In the whole Bible, there's only 10 commandments. We have got to simplify this. We can't even remember them. So we said, okay, yeah, that's what we got to do. We're going to simplify it. So we got it down to 5 one-word laws.
We thought they better be able to count them on the fingers. Wow, my hand looks big. And this
yeah.
We thought they better be able to get them on their 5 fingers of their hand. And we worked hard at trying to come up with 5, like you said, Linda, one-word laws that would do the trick, that would, and we knew we had to have consequences for each one, but we knew if they weren't simple and clear and basic, that we'd be fighting a losing battle.
Right, and they had some input on what they should be, and they had input on what the consequences.
Right.
Consequences.
You almost said punishments.
Should be, yeah, I almost did, but it's consequences for breaking the law. So it was really fun. Do we give them the 5 laws, or do you?
I think we better sing it to them.
Okay, you think we can remember that? We made up this song, and get ready for this because I'm a music major. Really, this is really complicated and beautiful.
Yeah, if you'd made up the song, there would have been multi-part harmony, and there would have been orchestration and so on. But since I only speak in nursery rhymes, but we would actually start our family home evenings or our family meetings by singing the family law song.
All right, are you ready?
Get ready for this. Give me a pitch.
Peace, respect, asking, order, obedience.
Peace, respect, asking, order, obedience. Peace, respect, asking, order, obedience. These are our family laws.
Now, even a 3-year-old could sing that. Well, so they all knew what had happened, and we don't really have time to go into it today.
But we will in the fall.
But we will in the fall. We'll tell you about the repenting bench, the things that happened as a result of those laws. It really has helped with our family.
Having 5 simple family laws, and you might alter them. They might think of better ones.
We did.
They might create their own. But having some simple ones, the biggest question we get when we're doing parenting lectures, someone will say, well, tell me about discipline. Tell me about discipline. And our whole thing is, if you have simple enough, basic enough family laws that the kids have bought into, you don't need the kind of discipline that people are usually thinking of, which is punishment and justice and ad hoc things and trying to figure it out as you go along.
But it's not easy. It involves role playing over and over again, reminding them over and over again. But in the end, it really is helpful. Not perfect, but helpful. Okay, number 2. And we're not going to say too much about this because this is really complicated. It is having a family economy. It's really complicated. We should put the video on.
It was complicated until we simplified it. No, but a family economy, listen, that's a word that scares people sometimes, Linda, but just think of it as a way to share responsibility in a family that doesn't involve a lot of badgering and nagging and bolstering and pushing. It's self-sustaining. That's what's so great about it.
It really is. It's pretty amazing. And kids need to learn how to work. And it really is important to not just give them everything. In fact, less is more. We just keep saying less is more.
Well, and when I think Linda's the one that usually does this, but when we're giving a lecture to parents, we often, just for fun, at the beginning, we say, how many of you had a family job when you were young? And these are probably people mostly in their 30s and 40s, right? How many hands go up?
Very few. A few.
No. How many of you, when you were children, had a job?
They all went up. Yeah, they all went up. They were like, of course. I babysat, I worked at the pizza place, whatever. But when we asked them how many of their children were doing those jobs, not very many. And there's a reason for that, and we'll talk about it next time, because life is so much more complicated now.
Yeah.
But we'll give you a little substitute.
So this family economy basically involves setting up a system in your own home where kids actually have certain responsibilities that they're paid for instead of an allowance. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't do a lot of things just because they're a member of the family, but it means you designate certain things. There are things that you'd have to do or the maid would have to do or whatever, and you say, if you do these things and keep track of them and put them in the family bank, we can't wait to tell you about the family bank, then on Saturday we're not having allowance day anymore, we're having payday. And how much you get is directly proportionate to how many of your jobs you remembered to do.
And there's interest that it really becomes exciting, and so the kids can help pay for their education. There's also a way to have children have money so that they can give to the causes that they want.
Yeah.
I mean, even as little
That's
children,
important, Linda.
They can go on GoFundMe and give $5. It is really a fun thing. So that's just raising the top, but we'll have fun talking about it.
And the third steps to a strong family is
traditions.
Traditions.
We didn't realize how important these traditions were, and actually how many arguments this would cause when our children got married. Because they had their husbands going on, well, wait a minute, I have some traditions too. But they had been pretty strong because they had so much fun with these traditions, I think, when they were growing up.
Well, when you think about it, again, going back to any institution, the churches have traditions, schools have traditions, fraternities have traditions, states and countries have traditions. You said it earlier, Linda, the glue, right, that holds the family together. The glue. And they remember it. Kids never forget these traditions. The thing we challenge parents to do is, and you all have traditions. I mean, every family does. Some of the traditions teach values and principles and are beautiful. Others, not so much. And so it's a matter of reviewing your traditions in your family and deciding which ones do you really want to keep. And sometimes you keep them just because you had them in your family.
Yeah.
And which ones don't you want to keep, and what new ones do you want to start?
Well, the interesting part is that our kids, now some of you might know our children. Shawnee, our daughter, has a big blog called 71 Toes, which is, we're not prejudiced or anything, but it's fabulous. But she just posted on the traditions that she grew up with and how much does your family culture affect you now?
Yeah.
It was fantastic because she actually had a little picture drawn of the family flag. She had all the family rules. She had written when she was in high school, a young high school student.
Yeah.
And it is so fun to see how this lasts. It lasts with your family when they have their family with your children and so on.
Well, and another daughter, Saren, teaches workshops, and the core, I would say, of her workshops are setting up values, teaching family traditions and rituals, things that you do. A tradition's like a ritual, something that recurs.
In fact, she's the master of the 3 steps.
She's incredible.
She is amazing. She has a better economy system than we do.
Well, and then our youngest daughter, Charity, who lives in London and does a marvelous blog called Right Now. Her last name is Wright, Wright, and she, even with little boys, she has 4 children, the oldest of which is 4, because she got twins on the end. And even the things they're doing with little kids, young kids, the point is you can start family traditions very early. I feel like I need to give some kind of a concrete example. Let me just quickly tell you that in our family way back when, on Thanksgiving, we had traditions like everyone does, but ours were basically to eat way too much and then watch football all day. That's okay, it's a tradition. But we sat down, we did this designing process where we're encouraging you to do. What tradition should we start on Thanksgiving that lasts and that really teaches? And it was a silly one in a way. It was listing on a big long roll of paper everything we could to be thankful for and breaking our record every year. And I think the last time we did it, while our kids were still at home, we got to 1,200 things on this paper that then was draped over the Thanksgiving table like crepe paper. And we had just spent the day thinking of how many things we were thankful for. The point is, you can create traditions that teach.
Well, and that last,
Yeah.
because when our grandkids walk in the door, they want to know where the paper roll is because they want to start writing. We just put it on a little adding machine paper roll, and they just roll it out. And when the cousin's in, what are you grateful for? What are you grateful for? It really is such a fun tradition.
So we'd like you to think of this little presentation today as kind of a trailer, kind of a teaser for this larger presentation. But here's what I think. I hope you'll be okay with this, Linda. I was thinking just before we came on, we ought to give you a challenge. You're here with Jamie and the other presenters, beautiful presenters, on this wonderful I Am Mom Summit. And we want to send you away from our little presentation with a challenge. Start thinking in your mind about those 3 steps. How are you doing in your family right now with rules and laws? Are they simple? Do the kids love them? Are the kids bought into them? Do they discipline themselves because they believe in those laws? Number 2, do you have a way that you're happy with as far as sharing responsibility and teaching kids to work? And are your traditions the ones that you want to have for the rest of your life? Spend the next 6 months, it'll be that long before this next seminar is presented, and create your own, do your best, and then know that not just us, but a bunch of other speakers too will be there to help you in 6 months on fleshing these things in. But I think my point, Linda, is if they start now, if they work on it with their own ideas, then they'll be ready to fine-tune it with the ideas in this larger conference.
Yeah, you'll get a lot of ideas in this summit, and they're all wonderful ideas. But these are just 3 little things that you can just think about with your family. And you don't have to be perfect at it, but just think about where you are, and then we'll go to the next step next time.
I want Linda to end by just telling you that we're on the other end of this thing looking back. And we miss the stage you're in right now of parenting.
Yeah, I just saw a little thing the other day about a mom and dad doing fun things with their little kids, and honestly, I've not thought about it a lot, I have to admit, because we've been busy and so on, but tears coming down remembering those sweet days when the kids were home and people used to say, oh, just appreciate this because this just lasts a minute. And I thought, oh, you can say that. I had 6 kids under 10, and it really is hard, but it is so worth it to set these things up now so that you can create what you want for the future. It's going to be so fun.
Thanks to you, thanks to Jamie, thanks to all the presenters. We're honored to be a part.
Good luck to you. We'll see you next time.